Uh, my son, oldest son, child, and oldest boy, uh, is
His name.
he's a very difficult
You say his name?
person to characterize.
Can you say his name before?
James.
Yeah, his full name?
And he's named James Junius Johnson III, and I'm James Junius Johnson II. And to be honest, I probably had uh, aspirations and expectations of having a relationship with my son that were fairly dashed or truncated because when he was about 16, he was having some major problems in school, and he eventually was evaluated by the juvenile mental health institution in Austin as being bipolar with which is manic depression with cycle with a paranoid overlay, and that has changed the whole. And I had to drop all the expectations I had and try to develop a relationship that was appropriate for that situation, and I'm not sure I've done a good job about that. And he's very intelligent. He's an extremely good writer and poet and painting, drawing and painting. But he's almost 50 years old, and he lives with his mom. And I'm really concerned about what's going to happen to him when his mother and Malia and myself are gone, have died. I can remember one time when this James had gone through a period in the state hospital, and then it was on a outreach program in the community, and I had gone to visit him, and he was talking about his grandfather, and that his grandfather was getting old and he's probably going to be died, he might die. And I remember saying to him, putting my arm around him, and I'm saying, James, your grandfather has already died. I didn't know, and nobody told you. And I went home, and I was in my living room, and all of a sudden there was a pounding on the front door, and Malia went to open the door, and it was Francine and Michelle. And they came in, kicked the door down, and stomped in like stormtroopers to accuse me of stabbing my ex-wife Edie in the back. And I did it by telling him his grandfather had died, because he was the only kid of my 4 children. He was the only kid that had contact with him and had visited him and had a bond. So their take on it was that Edie did not want him she did not want to take him to the funeral, and that not telling him that her grandfather had died was the best way of doing that. And for me to tell him, and the way it went was, I told him that he told his sisters that were dead. Francine told Benson's wife, who told Edie, and she went ballistic. And I got caught in that, and there wasn't any, what do you say? There wasn't anything I could say. There was no intentions to stab their mother. I thought that I had communicated very bad news to James, and that we talked. We were in a restaurant. We talked for about an hour about what a nice guy he was and the nice things that he could do and had done, and what memories he had. And it was for me, one of the best experiences I've had with sharing with James, and both of us being fairly open about how our feelings about his grandfather. And I had a lot of experience with him, and I always considered him a really neat guy. And that whole relationship, that whole scenario was just twisted, out of shape, and it was perceived as a revenge thing that I had done to hurt my ex-wife, and there was no explanation that was going to wipe that away. It was it was very hurtful.